Where's this Peck?
I am Walter Peck, sir, and I'm prepared to make a full report.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at the most negative, unforeseen effects a movie has had on the cast, crew, or audience.
The gun was supposed to be empty. I was told I was handed an empty gun.
Syriana, George Clooney.
It's complicated, you know. I mean, really screwed up at work.
How?
I was supposed to keep my mouth shut, and I didn't.
Considering he took home the Golden Globe and the Academy Award, it's safe to say George Clooney left it all on the table in this political drama. But he doesn't remember the experience all that fondly. During a flubbed stunt, Clooney fell over and hit his head hard, causing the actor agonizing headaches and memory loss. He later admitted that the pain got so bad, he contemplated ending his career right then and there.
And I fell over and I tore my spine and my dura in two places, you know, about 1.5 inches in one and a half an inch in the other.
While recent years have seen him in much higher spirits, something tells us Oscar Gold wasn't worth all that Syriana took from him.
And it's really unbearably painful. And you have to lay down and you can't get up. And I thought I had a stroke, honestly.
Psycho, Janet Leigh. If you were scared out of your mind during Marion Crane's iconic death scene, don't worry, you weren't alone. Actress Janet Leigh was right there with you. The performer was so frightened by the final cut of Marion's demise, she couldn't stomach the idea of showering ever again.
It is not PR. It is true. I stopped taking showers. I will not go into a shower.
Of course, Leigh eventually had to wash herself, but allegedly she always made sure doors, windows, and other exits were locked right before stepping into the tub.
Unless there's no other way to bathe, and then the doors are open, I have something right close by, and I'm facing the door, and there's no curtain. The floor looks like a swimming pool, but that is the truth.
It's a testament to the shower scene's visceral nature. Still, it's a shame it came at the cost of Leigh's peace of mind. The Deer Hunter, Russian roulette players.
Stevie, come down!
Michael Cimino's epic war drama is a brilliant depiction of life as a soldier. At its core is the simple game of Russian roulette, which serves as a captivating metaphor about the unpredictable stakes of battle.
Stevie, you gotta do it. You don't do it, they're gonna throw you in a pit. They throw you in a pit, you're gonna die.
However, in hindsight, the film may have been a bit too emphatic with this device. In the years since The Deer Hunter's release, it's been linked to around 25 different deaths of those who were inspired to play Russian roulette because of its role in the film. There's no denying it's a great part of an even greater movie, but given the fallout, you have to wonder if it was worth the cost.
Don't worry, kid. You did it. Don't get too much.
Cleopatra, Elizabeth Taylor. Forget her career, Elizabeth Taylor blew up her entire life in the making of this movie. To start, her busy schedule and frequent health issues ballooned Cleopatra's budget well past the point of reasonable. Then, without the studio to back her up, there was nothing to stop the ensuing news story of the century. Taylor was having an extramarital affair with her co-star Richard Burton.
I can never be more far away from you than this.
Already the subject of intense media scrutiny, this scandalous turn of events marred Taylor's image beyond the point of repair. While she still acted in the coming years, it was never under the same spotlight she had before Cleopatra.
What could I do? Where could I go?
Rosemary's Baby, Mia Farrow. The film that catapulted Mia Farrow back to stardom is also the one that ruined her first marriage.
This is no dream. This is really happening.
When Farrow said "I do" to Frank Sinatra, it was under the agreement that she would retire from acting. But having grown bored with the life of a housewife, Farrow later signed on for Rosemary's Baby. It caused a massive rift in their marriage, boiling over until eventually Farrow was served divorce papers while on set.
What are you talking about? What about what's fair to me?
Career-wise, taking Rosemary's Baby was definitely the right call, but in terms of Farrow's personal life, that's still up for debate.
I had done one movie and actually two, and a TV series before that, but nothing as demanding as that film was in every scene for months and months.
Reefer Madness. pharmaceutical reform supporters. Long before the war on drugs, a very vocal church decided to produce a cautionary tale about the effects of a very popular kind of recreational substance.
There is no doubt that there is an organized gang distributing the narcotic to students, not only in my school, but all over the city.
It was later picked up for distribution, re-edited, and turned into a cult classic by the name Reefer Madness. The movie follows a gang of high schoolers who, after indulging in the devil's lettuce, commit all sorts of morally reprehensible acts. It ranges from robbery to murder and beyond.
Mary Lane was in the way. She had found him out. In a moment of anger, he deliberately and willfully killed her.
Nowadays, the film's over-the-top nature has made it something of a cult hit in certain circles, but at the time, it only intensified the stigma against medical use of pharmaceuticals.
I know what you want. You want to kill me. You're crazy. Take it easy, kid. I just want to talk to you.
The Alamo, LaJean Etheridge. They say there are no small roles, only small actors, but sadly for LaJean Etheridge, her boyfriend, Chester Harvey Smith, disagreed. The two were both cast as extras in the John Wayne western The Alamo. However, reports claim Etheridge was given a slightly better part, a fact that Smith was none too pleased with.
Will Travis, just who do you think you are?
Fearing Etheridge would leverage her fame to leave him, their relationship escalated into a bitter argument, one Etheridge never walked away from.
I swear I was beginning to think these Texicans wasn't as neighborly as they might be.
Allegedly, Wayne himself was called in to testify during the trial. You can't help but wonder if this could have all been avoided if Etheridge just hadn't taken the part. Ghostbusters, William Atherton.
I'm Walter Peck. I represent the Environmental Protection Agency, the 3rd District.
Great. How's it going down there?
Walter Peck is a real piece of work, and a large part of that comes from William Atherton's slimy work in the role. However, it seems he did too good a job. In the years following Ghostbusters' smashing success, Atherton's easygoing lifestyle was routinely interrupted by hecklers and overzealous fans.
And would this storage facility be located on these premises?
Yes.
And may I see this storage facility?
No.
They couldn't separate the character from the actor, and the constant ridicule made Atherton resentful of the franchise. Rumor has it, when he ran into director Ivan Reitman, he greeted him with an argument instead of a hug.
Excuse me, just where do you think you're going?
Step aside, miss, or I'll have you arrested for interfering with a police officer.
Oh, no, hold on. I've seen TV. I know you can't come in here without a warrant or a writ or something.
It's no surprise Atherton didn't return for Ghostbusters 2.
Everything was fine with our system until the power grid was shut off by here.
They caused an explosion.
Is this true?
Yes, it's true. This man has no
Apocalypse Now, cast and crew. Whether you were on camera or behind it, it was hard to walk away from this set completely unscathed.
Hey, Chief, man, you guys just got blown off that bridge.
You hang on, man. You're gonna be okay.
For starters, it took over a full calendar year just to film the thing. Principal photography was only supposed to last 5 months, but Apocalypse Now was besieged by a never-ending slew of disasters.
Kurtz's patrols in the highlands coming under frequent ambush. The camp started falling apart.
Storms destroyed sets, star Martin Sheen had a near-fatal heart attack, and Marlon Brando showed up to work not knowing his lines.
Horror has a face, and you must make a friend of horror. Horror and moral terror.
Numerous reports called it an intense, grim shooting environment reflective of the film's gritty subject matter. If there's any silver lining, it's that Apocalypse Now is often considered one of the greatest films ever made. Heaven's Gate, Michael Cimino, and future directors. After the Oscar-winning success of 1978's The Deer Hunter, visionary Michael Cimino had a blank check for his eagerly awaited follow-up. Unfortunately, he spent all that capital on Heaven's Gate, a film so universally despised, it didn't just ruin his career, it ruined the entire framework of Hollywood.
You people make me sick.
By going way over budget with nothing to show for it, executives looked at Heaven's Gate as a failure of the director-driven approach to filmmaking. So, to save their bottom line, they shifted to making movies by committee, ensuring no one person could sink a film like Cimino did with Heaven's Gate. Whenever a director complains about a lack of creative control, you know who to blame.
You can't fire me, Charlie. But I just quit.
Transformers: Dark of the Moon, Gabriela Cedillo.
It's total anarchy around here.
The live-action robots in disguise are known for their overblown action sequences. But in a tragic turn of events, one sequence in Dark of the Moon became all too real for stuntwoman Gabriela Cedillo. The aspiring actress was hired as a driving extra for a chase scene.
You gotta move faster, faster, mate, go!
Only for a malfunctioning wire to leave her with sky-high medical bills and permanent brain damage. Cedillo sued for damages, claiming the stunt had improper safety precautions and that the production lacked a permit for explosives. Her accusations must have held some merit because in the end, she walked away with an $18 million settlement. Cuties, Maimouna Doucouré and the cast. As early as the first trailer, online reactions lambasted this film for sexualizing its young cast. The most interesting part is that the reviews were actually good, glowing even. But the questionable subject matter was too much of a sticking point for many, with over 600,000 Netflix users vowing to cancel their subscription over the film's release.
The film has recently drawn a lot of attention with split opinions on whether or not scenes were age-appropriate for the young actors.
The young cast became the center of a media storm they had little to no control over. However, it's director Maimouna Doucouré who got the worst of it, having received piles of death threats. You could say the backlash to this movie was anything but cute.
Buck says the movie, quote, creates an environment that encourages the exploitation of children.
I Spit on Your Grave, Camille Keaton.
The town is too peaceful lately. I don't hear any exciting news.
For an agonizing, controversial half hour, this horror film presents the despicable reality of a woman in peril. It's a harrowing watch through and through, and understandably, actress Camille Keaton wondered if this was the best way to kickstart her career. And well, the verdict is a mixed bag.
I started looking at the script and I thought, wow, this is a great opportunity to show my range of emotions.
While the intense scandal surrounding I Spit on Your Grave catapulted Keaton to the top of the pop culture zeitgeist, its enduring legacy has made it difficult for her to step out of its shadow. She's still a busy actress, but for better or worse, she'll always be Jennifer Hills. The Blues Brothers, John Belushi. One of cinema's greatest comedies has a tragic story behind the scenes, and it all surrounds John Belushi.
Well, thank you, Al. The day I get out of prison, my own brother picks me up in a police car.
The movie was basically made atop a mountain of pharmaceuticals. In fact, writer and star Dan Aykroyd claims part of Blues Brothers' budget was set aside for that very thing.
We need $5,000 fast.
$5,000? What do you think you are, the Beatles?
However, its prevalence on set only worsened Belushi's reliance on the stuff, leading to many intense standoffs and arguments with cast and crew.
Fame and success is really difficult. I think people really embraced John and demanded a great amount from him.
Considering Belushi succumbed to his substance use disorder just 2 years later, it's hard not to see his work in Blues Brothers as a final, desperate cry for help.
Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yep.
The Island of Dr. Maro, Everyone.
And I've almost achieved perfection.
Man, you just have to feel bad for those involved in this movie. Grieving over his recent divorce, Bruce Willis dropped out of the project at the last minute. Willis's replacement, Val Kilmer, was served divorce papers partway through filming, causing bursts of rage. Then there's Marlon Brando, who was dealing with his own issues and almost never bothered learning his lines.
He never would learn his lines, and he had Carolyn, his assistant, read lines from the trailer into his little earpiece.
And that's if he showed up to set at all.
Oh, my word. You startled me.
Combine all of that with a director replacement, and it makes sense why The Island of Dr. Maro was such a career-ending dumpster fire. For the reputation of those involved, it probably would have been better if it hadn't been made at all. The Shining, Shelley Duvall.
Now, are you a Winnie or a Freddie?
I'm a Wendy.
Oh, Wendy, that's nice.
That's the prettiest.
In order to turn The Shining into the cinematic staple it's revered as today, director Stanley Kubrick pushed everyone to their absolute limit. But none more so than star Shelley Duvall. Kubrick clashed with the actress over her delivery and technique, creating an extremely toxic work environment. Some claim Duvall was forced to do takes dozens, if not hundreds of times until Kubrick was satisfied, a feat that eventually led to the actress collapsing from exhaustion.
What do you want to talk about?
I can't really remember.
You can't remember.
Even worse, much of Duvall's role was left on the cutting room floor anyways. Beloved film or not, that's tough to justify. Cannibal Holocaust, The Crew.
Oh, good Lord. It's unbelievable. It's horrible.
In a weird kind of backwards compliment, this horror film was so ridiculously brutal it actually got the filmmakers arrested. That's no hyperbole. Cannibal Holocaust follows a documentary crew's graphic run-in with a tribe of, you guessed it, cannibals. However, this early example of found footage proved too real for audiences of the time.
Stuff they shot could really gut punch you.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The ratings were fantastic, higher than most of the big comics. And did they know how to play an audience? Alan especially.
The film was banned from several countries, and the Italian government charged the director, screenwriter, and producers with obscenity. While Cannibal Holocaust has since garnered a surprisingly large underground following, we can't help but wonder whether the filmmakers think it was worth it or not. Stalker, cast and crew.
Горя будет много. Ну, только уж лучше горькое счастье, чем серая унылая жизнь.
In this psychedelic think piece, 3 people embark on a thought-provoking journey through a hazardous wasteland in order to achieve their deepest desires. Only the hazards the team faced along the way weren't just for the camera.
А где же они что, так здесь и остались? Люди. А кто их знает?
It started as a breakout of allergies, and then a few years after Stalker wrapped, several members of the cast and crew were suddenly diagnosed with lung cancer. As it turns out, the chemical plants they shot Stalker at weren't sets, but real, actual biohazard facilities. While it's impossible to ever definitively know, the evidence all points to Stalker's production being ground zero.
Сделайте любезность, но оставьте вы меня в покое. Ну дайте мне хоть подремать немного. Я же не спал сегодня всю ночь.
The Wizard of Oz, Judy Garland. Follow the yellow brick road all the way to Hollywood infamy. That's right, despite The Wizard of Oz's irrefutable place in cinema history, it's now overshadowed by the abhorrent treatment of Judy Garland. The film was produced smack dab in the middle of the studio's attempts to mold her into the quintessential it girl, no matter how much it damaged her mental state.
You're a very bad man.
Oh, no, my dear, I'm a very good man.
Garland found no support on set, with the cast and crew either harassing her further or ignoring her altogether.
You're just like all the other ones. You sit on the sidelines and you watch the show.
If you're wondering how on earth she looked so happy when singing Over the Rainbow, it's because she was on a mandatory cocktail of uppers. To her, Oz wasn't a dreamland, it was a nightmare.
Judy, I'm sorry, but that is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help you.
Judy me. You're not my friend.
Rust, Helena Hutchins. In 2021, a film set turned deadly when a prop gun discharged a live bullet in the middle of a scene. The victim, stuntwoman Helena Hutchins, suffered fatal injuries, igniting a media storm the likes of which the film industry hadn't seen in years.
This is a crime scene?
Dozens of crew members were interviewed who paint a picture of what happened on set.
Reportedly, neither actor Alec Baldwin or first assistant director David Hall were aware the prop gun was loaded. That didn't help their case, though, and only stirred up more conversation about negligence on film sets. Both Baldwin and armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed were charged with involuntary manslaughter, with the latter being found guilty.
The distraught 24-year-old is seen with investigators second-guessing her time on the set.
I wish I would have checked it more.
The film eventually re-entered production, with Helena's husband serving as executive producer, and was formally released in 2025. The Passion of the Christ, Jim Caviezel.
Leithai. Anashtikai. Lakaima.
Some find Mel Gibson's interpretation of Jesus' crucifixion inspirational. Others see it as a relentless test of endurance. For Jim Caviezel, the experience was a bit of both. As a devout Catholic, Caviezel was dedicated to his role. But Jesus' on-screen torment isn't far from what the actor faced. In addition to getting pneumonia and hypothermia, Caviezel was accidentally lashed, dislocated his shoulder, and got struck by lightning, which was actually half the amount of times production assistant Jan Michelini was struck. Although the film broke box office records, Hollywood essentially turned its back on Caviezel. While Caviezel has since found success with a Passion sequel in development, his onset injuries and the film's effects on his career remain a cross to bear.
So I was on a lot of medication until 2009 was my first surgery.
Napoleon Dynamite, Carlos and Efren Ramirez.
How long did it take you to grow that mustache?
A couple of days.
I wish I could grow one.
Going from Sundance darling to a surprise phenomenon, Napoleon Dynamite turned its cast into icons. For Pedro actor Efren Ramirez, this extended to his identical twin brother, Carlos. In what sounds like something out of a 90s sitcom, Carlos began making public appearances as Efren. Carlos claimed he initially had his brother's blessing, since Efren couldn't be everywhere. Over time, though, Carlos started impersonating his brother without permission. Carlos was also resentful regarding a girl Efren was dating. Efren eventually sent a cease and desist, threatening to sue Carlos for $10 million. Carlos stopped and expressed a desire to reconcile with his brother. Still, he suspected that the magnitude of Napoleon Dynamite and everything that has come along with it has ruined his relationship with his twin.
If you vote for me, all of your wildest dreams will come true. Thank you.
Taxi driver, James Brady.
Now I see it clearly. My whole life is pointed in one direction. I see that now. There never has been any choice for me.
This Martin Scorsese classic centers on Travis Bickle, a veteran compelled to assassinate a presidential candidate. While Bickle backs out, the film inspired John Hinckley Jr. to shoot then-President Ronald Reagan. Reagan was only wounded, but Officer Thomas Delahanty, Agent Tim McCarthy, and Press Secretary James Brady were caught in the crossfire. Where McCarthy fully recovered, nerve damage forced Delahanty into early retirement. Brady also survived, but his life changed the most. In addition to requiring a wheelchair, Brady was left with slurred speech, partial paralysis, and short-term memory impairment. Although his career in the White House was over, Brady became a major gun control advocate, leading to the Brady Bill. Brady's life nonetheless ended tragically, with the gunshot wound taking its toll in 2014.
James Brady has died, the press secretary to President Reagan, who was wounded during the 1981 assassination attempt on the president. Life for Brady was never the same.
Death in Venice, Bjorn Anderson.
Go away immediately, don't delay. Please, I beg you. Take Tatsill and your daughters. I implore you.
This drama from Italian director Luchino Visconti turned relative newcomer Bjorn Anderson into, quote, the most beautiful boy in the world. As the headlines put it, in the film, Anderson played Tadzio, the young object of an aging composer's affection. Anderson was only a teenager at the time, feeling in retrospect that Visconti had sexualized him. Despite his young age, Anderson became a sex symbol and an LGBTQIA+ icon. Anderson isn't gay, but many assumed he was. The crew even took him to a gay nightclub. The unwanted attention the role brought stayed with Anderson, who grappled with substance use, depression, and trauma in the years that followed.
But you can't expect life to illuminate the target and steady your aim. The creation of beauty and purity is a spiritual act.
The Birds, Tippi Hedren.
Daddy, there were hundreds of them. No, I'm not hysterical. I'm trying to tell you this as calmly as I know how.
Although Melanie Daniels would be a star-making role for Tippi Hedren, her fame essentially began and ended with Alfred Hitchcock. Not only did the phone booth scene leave her with cuts, Hitchcock decided to switch out the mechanical birds with real ones at the 11th hour, putting Hedren through 5 days of terror. The two nevertheless reunited for the film Marnie, which is where Hedren claims Hitchcock started making unwanted sexual advances. Hedren finished the film, but she was done with Hitchcock afterward. A few more roles came Hedren's way, albeit none on par with Melanie or Marnie. While acting continued to run in her family, it's debatable whether the birds made Hedren's career or prevented her from reaching greater heights.
What did he say to you?
He said, "I'll ruin your career."
Wow.
I said, "Do what you have to do," and out the door I went.
Roar, the cast and crew.
Say hello to Henry the Jaguar, would you? Not today.
Remember when we said Tippi Hedren appeared in several other projects after ditching Hitchcock? One was Roar, which she made with husband Noel Marshall to spotlight African wildlife. After The Birds, you'd think Hedren would avoid working with live animals again. For Roar, though, the filmmakers used actual lions, tigers, and other large cats. Untrained ones, we might add. It's been estimated that 70 people were injured working on the film, with cinematographer Jan de Bont getting scalped. A lion bit Hedren in the neck, and an African elephant fractured her ankle, giving her gangrene. Marshall also got gangrene following multiple life-threatening animal attacks. Even Hedren's daughter Melanie Griffith was mauled, requiring facial surgery. There were no fatalities, but the scars left a lasting impression.
Oh, that's Johnny Lion. You never have to worry about John.
The Blair Witch Project. Heather Donahue.
Witches in days gone by were roasted just like my Vienna sausage. Flames are licking you like the devil there, Josh.
We're still baffled that Heather Donahue won a Razzie for the Blair Witch Project. Her committed performance is one of the reasons so many believed the film was a legitimate documentary. Of course, when the truth came out, some audiences felt deceived, giving the film an infamous reputation. This made it harder for Donahue to find work and even led to her being harassed. Retiring from acting in 2008, Donahue became a writer and recreational pharmaceutical enthusiast. She still struggled to separate herself from the film, sharing the same name as her character. For the 2016 Blair Witch sequel, which centers on Heather's brother, Lionsgate made a conscious effort not to mention Donahue's last name. Regardless, Donahue changed her name to Ray Hance in 2020.
I see why you like this video camera so much.
You do?
It's not quite reality.
Last Tango in Paris, Maria Schneider.
Go get the butter.
I have to hurry. I have a cab downstairs waiting.
Go get the butter.
When Maria Schneider was cast opposite Marlon Brando in this erotic romance, it seemed like a life-changing role. It was, but not for all the reasons Schneider hoped. While the actors were praised for their authentic performances, a particular scene hit too close to reality. Brando and director Bernardo Bertolucci devised an unscripted assault scene that Schneider only learned about right before filming. Brando's on-screen actions might have been staged, but Schneider's tears were real. The experience left her with a mix of anger, humiliation, and regret, feeling as if she had been assaulted. What followed was a spiral involving substance use, depression, and attempts on her own life. Schneider wished she had spoken up on set, but she became a prominent voice for women's rights.
Wait a minute. Maybe there's jewels in it. Maybe there's gold.
Resident Evil, The Final Chapter, Olivia Jackson. Director Paul W.S. Anderson pushed the action with each of his Resident Evil adaptations. With the sixth and final installment, he pushed too far. Stuntwoman Olivia Jackson was doubling for Milla Jovovich when her motorcycle crashed directly into a crane-mounted camera. 17 days later, she awoke from a coma to learn that her left arm was gone. It would be years before she recovered from other injuries and facial reconstruction.
What's the last thing you remember?
I remember up until the very impact.
It turned out that Anderson had made a slight camera adjustment without informing Jackson. That was all it took for disaster to strike. Jackson may have won a lawsuit in 2020, but there's no compensation for the loss of her career and old life.
And Jackson has resumed activities that she loves: martial arts, swimming, and riding a bike.
The Amityville Horror, Amityville Homeowners. A house in Long Island's Amityville was the scene of Ronald DeFeo Jr.'s grisly familicide in 1974, then alleged paranormal activity the following year. This inspired a book that in turn inspired a film franchise spanning decades. The original house has had so many tourists that it's been passed through a number of owners. But with all of the residents scared off by the true terror of horror enthusiasts, the Lutz family cannot escape their fame over their supposed supernatural trauma. They've also filed multiple lawsuits over defamation and the use of their brand in unrelated Amityville Horror sequels.
George Lutz dislikes the recent film so much that he is suing its makers, MGM. This is the latest of many legal actions he has taken over the years.
Though even the Lutzes debate the facts in their story, they and that house's other residents agree that they've been haunted by this franchise.
It's the most documented event of its kind.
American Me, Mafiosos. Edward James Olmos took on the Mexican Mafia of Los Angeles with raw honesty. Of course, the Mexican Mafia felt that American Me was too honest, except where it potentially defamed La M.A. legend Rodolfo Cadena.
Until now, I would have thought it a sign of weakness to even listen to what you said to me that night.
Danny Trejo, who consulted on the production, claims that about 10 colleagues were murdered for their involvement.
4 out here and about, I think, 6 in prison.
It's at least confirmed that 3 active or former mafiosos were targeted specifically over a scene depicting male-on-male assault. This mob takes machismo very seriously. Never mind the veil of secrecy and menace that almost tore down.
I'm sorry.
According to American Me, these lives were already ruined by organized crime. Their being ended over a movie further exposes the madness that almost wanted to scare people away from. Sideways, Merlot growers.
If they want to drink Merlot, we're drinking Merlot.
No, if anybody orders Merlot, I'm leaving.
Alexander Payne's dramedy about 2 wine connoisseurs touring Santa Barbara County had a surprising ripple effect. Audiences seem to have been paying close attention to the wine preferences of Paul Giamatti's character Miles.
Why are you so into Pinot? I mean, it's like a thing with you.
I don't know. It's a hard grape to grow.
While sales of Pinot Noir, which he loved, saw a significant bump, those of Merlot, which he detested, fell by 2%. This proved financially disastrous in California's wine country, where Merlot accounted for around 20% of sales. It took nearly 2 decades for the market to bounce back. In that time, many winemakers found their livelihoods compromised by one single movie.
Just don't give up. All right? You're gonna make it.
Half my life is over, and I have nothing to show for it. Nothing.
Sideways may be widely acclaimed, but it doesn't have as many fans in the wine industry as you'd think. The Goonies, Sandy Preston.
I just saw the most amazing thing in my entire life! First you gotta do the truffle shuffle. Come on! Do it! Come on! Do it!
The Walsh House in Astoria, Oregon, is the treasure of adventurous Goonies fans around the world. One such fan, a woman named Sandy Preston, bought the property in 2001, but realized that her dream was actually a nightmare. The house soon became overwhelmed with visitors, some of whom even stole her wallpaper. Preston subsequently became much less welcoming, thankfully without resorting to the Fratelli's attitude toward trespassers.
Hit puree!
No! I'm too young! No! I want to play the violin! Not my hand!
She just briefly forbade visitors following the film's 30th anniversary event. In 2022, Preston listed the house for $1.65 million, and it was sold in just 6 days. While that might not make up for over 20 years of intrusion, we hope that the new owners get a better return on their investment.
For Goonies around the world, just know this. This is our time. It's our time right now.
The Conqueror, cast and crew. Hollywood's dramatization of the rise of Genghis Khan was considered a disaster from the beginning. It's now best known for the shocking miscast of John Wayne as the fearsome Mongol leader.
This day I have long awaited, and now I am beset by weaklings and traitors.
But there was another horrifically misguided production decision. Because so much of The Conqueror was filmed downwind of a nuclear testing site in Utah, the cast and crew were exposed to radiation over extended periods. About 41% of the crew went on to be diagnosed with cancer. Half of them did not survive. They were among the countless so-called downwinders who were contaminated by nuclear fallout from testing sites throughout the western United States. It turns out that The Conqueror is not just a bad movie, but was an actual disaster.
Guard yourself well, my brother.
What ventures without hazard?
Deliverance, the people of Rabun County.
Talk about genetic deficiencies. Not pitiful.
Who's picking a banjo here?
The groundbreaking thriller Deliverance practically made Georgia a highly sought-after film production destination. However, the movie still has a more mixed reputation among the residents of Rabun County, where it was shot.
Well, gentlemen, we can talk this thing over. What is it you require of us?
We require that you get your goddamn ass up in them woods.
All right, now, look.
You hear him now, Tanner.
Okay, all right.
Sure, the economy flourished from tourism along the Chattooga River, but the local population has had to suffer overcrowding in their community and ruinous stigma beyond. Deliverance has been credited with widely popularizing degrading, frightening stereotypes about the Deep South that persist today. The people of Rabun County are, of course, facing this fallout more directly.
Don't come back up here.
You don't have to worry about that, Sheriff.
Banjo boy Billy Redden may still encourage his community to embrace their place in film history. For many of his neighbors, though, that's not worth the decades of negative perceptions.
Can you play the banjo for us?
Nope.
You can't play it at all?
Nope.
The Blind Side, Michael Orr. For every fan of the sports biopic The Blind Side, there's a critic of its questionable racial representation. One of them is Michael Orr himself, whose life the film is based on.
And I promise that I will be at every game cheering for you.
Every game?
Every game.
The former NFL lineman felt that the movie belittled his intelligence and agency in his athletic career. He also alleged that this negatively affected his status on the field.
When I could have dropped out in 6th, 7th grade, man. And when somebody else get that credit, yeah, it pisses you off. It pissed me off.
Orr tried to set the record straight with an autobiography that elaborated on his disappointment in The Blind Side and its offensive liberties. But by then, the damage was seemingly already done.
It's really, really sad.
I think you just found something to write about, Michael.
Just goes to show that even an underdog story with the best of intentions can apparently blindside its subject. The Conjuring, Gerald Helfrich and Norma Sutcliffe.
Wanna play hide and clap?
The Perron family may have dealt with supernatural intruders in 1971, but Gerald Helfrich and Norma Sutcliffe were later haunted by many physical ones.
We have no longer have any sense of peace. No privacy is totally gone.
Ed and Lorraine Warren's paranormal investigation into the Perrons' farmhouse was the basis for the 2013 smash hit The Conjuring. This launched a film franchise and horror fan pilgrimage to the Rhode Island plot, then owned by Helfrich and Sutcliffe. The couple not only dealt with trespassers, but vandalism and threats of violence. Naming some 500 incidents, they sued the film's producers for damages in 2015.
It is harassment, stalking, and that's how it comes across to us.
4 years later, Helfrich and Sutcliffe finally sold the house to paranormal investigators who converted it into a museum. The nightmare was over, but with a family driven out of their home of 32 years. Natural-born killers, copycat crime victims. Oliver Stone didn't pull any punches in condemning America's violence culture through the exploits of a serial killer couple. Many critics didn't completely get the irony. Tragically, neither did some disturbed individuals. Natural-born killers inspired a number of violent criminal acts and murder sprees by copycats, most of them teenagers.
Hey, Jack. Mickey's back.
Perhaps the most famous crime was the Columbine High School massacre. Stone and Time Warner were hit with an incitement lawsuit that dragged on for 6 years before being dismissed. There are always much deeper catalysts for copycat criminals than where they get their twisted ideas. Still, while Natural-Born Killers has an important message behind its horror, the way in which it was delivered was adapted to cause so much suffering.
It's just murder, man. All God's creatures do it. So.
Aaron Brochovich.
What can I do for you, Aaron?
Well, believe it or not, I'm on the prowl for some water records.
You come to the right place.
I guess I did.
Single mother and paralegal Erin Brochovich saved a lot of lives by exposing groundwater contamination in Hinckley, California. The Julia Roberts-led film about her crusade was a massive success and made Brochovich a celebrity environmental activist. This newfound status, however, came to be a major burden.
And I could see that it was affecting my children, my relationship, my friends. I could see jealousy coming up. I could see anger. I could see frustration. I could see people's agendas.
Exhausting public pressure and professional obligations frequently tore Brochovich away from her children. She even struggled to find time to support her daughter Elizabeth through struggles with substance use disorder.
What happened was it became more important to earn that next paycheck. It became more important, oh, I have to do an interview, than it was to see that I had a kid maybe in trouble.
More than 20 years later, Brochovich is still fighting the good fight in the public eye. Her family is also in good health, but as tough as their lives were before they became movie stars, fame apparently didn't bring much fortune.
6. That's how old my other daughter is. 8 is the age of my son. 2 is how many times I've been married and divorced. 16 is the number of dollars I have in my bank account, 850-3943. That's my phone number. And with all the numbers I gave you, I'm guessing 0 is the number of times you're going to call it.
The message. B'nai B'rith hostages.
Mohammed, when I hunt the desert at night, I know God is not kept in the house.
By the 1970s, misrepresentation of Islam was becoming widespread in Western media. Syrian-American filmmaker Mustafa Akkad responded with an epic dramatization of the religion's founding.
The Prophet has seen you. You're not to rope or drag the prisoners. They have roped us. Cut them loose.
The message was both critically acclaimed and controversial. Though Akkad was careful to avoid directly depicting the Prophet Muhammad, the extremist Hanafi movement mistakenly believed that Hollywood star Anthony Quinn was cast in the part. They retaliated with an armed siege of the Washington, D.C. chapter of the Jewish service group B'nai B'rith. This resulted in The Message being temporarily pulled from theaters and failing at the box office. Worse, the hostage crisis ended in the loss of 2 lives and unimaginable trauma.
Even today, the horror of it all still causes me feelings of pain and anxiety.
Despite Akkad's noble intentions, this tragedy shows the consequences of any movie's message being misconstrued. Star Wars Episode I: The Phantom Menace. Ahmed Best. Everyone knows the tragedy of The Phantom Menace wrecking Jake Lloyd's career and childhood. Not enough people recognize what Ahmed Best went through as the voice and motion capture performer of the near-universally hated Jar Jar Binks.
Hey,
What should have been Best's breakout role wound up a stain on his career and mental health. He even considered taking his own life. Instead, he continued to play Jar Jar with utmost professionalism, at least until his Annie Award-winning spoof on Robot Chicken.
Reese are gonna die!
Best is now in a good place, teaching at Stanford University and recast in Star Wars in the much more dignified role of Jedi Master Kelleran Beck. Still, that can't make up for his particularly painful years of Jar Jar Binks.
Everything's gonna be all right, kid.
Le Mans. David Piper.
This isn't just 1,000 to 1 shot. This is a professional blood sport. And it can happen to you. And then it can happen to you again.
As an avid motorsports enthusiast, Steve McQueen was heavily invested in the production of his 1971 film about the racing tournament 24 Hours of Le Mans. The project was plagued by multiple difficulties and eventually bombed at the box office with polarized reviews. This was by no means its only tragedy. Veteran driver David Piper participated in one of the racing sequences and crashed his signature Porsche 917 in the process. The resulting injuries were so severe that one of his legs had to be partly amputated.
When people risk their lives, shouldn't it be for something very important?
Well, better be.
Piper would go on to race again years later, but what should have been a small movie part essentially turned out to be a life-changing tragedy.
Darling, does it really matter?
Yes, it does.
But you're going to quit anyway.
Yep. But not this way.
Dog Day Afternoon, John Wustowich. On the afternoon of August 22, 1972, John Wustowich ruined his own life with a botched bank robbery in Brooklyn. At least he enjoyed celebrity status in prison when the story inspired the classic thriller Dog Day Afternoon.
I'm a Catholic and I don't want to hurt anybody, understand?
After he did his time, however, that story cost Wustowich professional and financial security. Any hope of leaving behind his old life was gone. Moreover, he claimed that the morally ambiguous Sonny Wustowich was still defamatory. Say what you will about John, but at least he was loyal to his partner in crime. Wustowich died almost 20 years after prison, having been living on welfare and with his mother. It's no secret that crime doesn't pay, but sometimes true crime movies can be even more costly.
And I wanted to be a security guard. I said, I'm the guy from Dog Day Afternoon. Nobody's going to rob the dog's bank.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Adriana Casalotti. Children have dreamt of being a Disney princess since the 1930s. The very first one, however, found that it was nothing to wish for. Adriana Casalotti's enchanting voice work as Snow White should have guaranteed her lifelong stardom. But she was not credited in the movie and was forbidden to promote herself. Casalotti sued Disney for a soundtrack stipend, and she was hardly heard from again. The theory is that her voice was too distinctive for her to get other roles. It's also rumored that Walt Disney had her blacklisted. Either way, aside from a few roles and reprising Snow White, Casalotti's acting career was stagnant. She found success in opera, but her film fantasies were crushed by the realities of working for Disney.
Bye, Grumpy. Goodbye.
A Clockwork Orange, Linda Grimm and Linda Wardhill. Stanley Kubrick's examination of psychopathy in modern society is hailed as a masterpiece, but upon its release, A Clockwork Orange was condemned for going too far with its graphic violence. Alleged copycat crimes became so rampant that Kubrick personally had the movie banned from the UK in 1973.
You've proved to me that all this ultra-violence and killing is wrong and terribly wrong!
Nonetheless, the most high-profile case was in '89 and 2002, when Peter Foster murdered his wives, Linda Grimm and Linda Wardhill. The so-called Clockwork Orange killer had a history of violence against women, but it escalated after he saw his favorite movie. Despite his self-censorship, Kubrick always held that disturbed minds are fundamentally responsible for copycats. Whatever would have inspired such ultra-violence otherwise, Grimm and Wardhill suffered for their husband's love of one movie.
He was a menace. We put him away for his own protection, and also for yours.
War Games, Aaron Swartz.
Wouldn't you prefer a good game of chess?
Later, let's play Global Thermonuclear War.
The dangers of computer hacking went mainstream with the 1980s cult classic War Games. It even influenced the United States' Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. The punitive measures the bill outlines might not be unreasonable for a hacker who nearly triggers a nuclear war. Alas, its broad definition of unauthorized computer access meant tragedy for internet activist Aaron Swartz.
I mean, what do you believe needs to be done to modernize that law?
Well, at the moment, that law makes it a felony for you to give your password to HBO to a friend. That has to be changed.
In 2011, Swartz was charged with hacking into MIT's network to download academic articles. The university didn't want to file charges, but with federal prosecutors taking over, Swartz was likely to face devastating fines and prison time. Just before his trial, he took his own life.
Do you believe that if the criminal justice system hadn't failed Aaron, do you believe he'd be alive today?
Without question.
Hacking may be no game, but this was just the most high-profile of many extreme legacies of the so-called War Games scare. Citizen Kane, William Randolph Hearst, Marion Davies, and Orson Welles.
Hello, Jedediah.
Hello, Charlie. I didn't know we were speaking.
Sure we're speaking, Jedediah. You're fired.
Newspaper tycoon William Randolph Hearst's yellow journalism was rarely as sensational as his own villainy. This was the main inspiration for Orson Welles' Citizen Kane.
No, I don't know many people.
I know too many people. I guess we're both lonely.
Despite Hearst's efforts to suppress it, the film has become recognized as one of the greatest ever made. Hearst's true character was also popularly immortalized. Of course, his lover, Marion Davies, suffered more as the model for Charles Foster Kane's talentless trophy wife. Herself a renowned entertainer, Davies saw her personal career and legacy permanently tarnished. As for Welles, he was very open about his dramatic, artistic, and financial decline ever since his feud with Hearst. Citizen Kane did indeed show how the mighty truly fall. While Hearst thrived despite his reputation, the innocent Davies and noble Welles fell hardest.
You know, Mr. Bernstein, if I hadn't been very rich, I might have been a really great man.
The Crow, Brandon Lee.
If the people we love are stolen from us, the way to have them live on is to never stop loving them.
The Crow is about a musician whose life is cut tragically short, but he returns as an immortal symbol. This story hauntingly mirrored reality in ways nobody could have predicted. Lee's performance solidified him as a cinematic icon, but he didn't live to see the ensuing success. As production neared end, the crew still needed to film a scene where Lee's character gets shot. The scene seemingly went as planned until the filmmakers realized Lee wasn't getting up. The prop gun hadn't been properly prepared, amounting to a fatal blast. Actor Michael Massey, who fired the revolver, was traumatized, enduring nightmares over a decade later. Twilight Zone the movie. Vic Morrow, Renee Shinyi Chen, and Mika Din Lee.
While here at home, a freak accident turns a war movie set into real-life disaster, killing veteran actor Vic Morrow.
The Twilight Zone is an iconic show, but its film counterpart is best known for one of the most notorious tragedies in Hollywood history. In a segment directed by John Landis, a set piece involving a helicopter claimed the lives of star Vic Morrow and two young performers, Renee Shinyi Chen and Mika Din Lee. Some chalked the crash up to a freak accident, although others believed Landis prioritized his artistic vision over the safety of the actors. Landis and others involved were acquitted, although Warner Brothers would award $850,000 each to Morrow's daughters, one of whom is Jennifer Jason Leigh. Steven Spielberg, who directed another segment, also severed ties with Landis. Wherever the blame lies, multiple lives were ruined that day. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. The Birth of a Nation. The American People. D.W. Griffith's dramatization of the American Civil War and Reconstruction gave birth to the Hollywood blockbuster, but the Southern aristocrat had a disturbing view of that period. The Birth of a Nation promoted pro-Confederate rhetoric and horrifying anti-black stereotypes, culminating in the quote-unquote heroic rise of the Ku Klux Klan. This film is not just another offensively outdated classic. It was massively controversial at the time, yet no one fully anticipated its impact. The Birth of a Nation was linked to an escalation in racial hostility and segregation policies, as well as a popular resurgence of the KKK. Griffith may have revealed the technical power of movies, but with his hand in widespread hatred and terrorism, he also showed their political power in the worst way. What other movies have ruined a life? Let us know if we missed any in the comments below.
But of course I'm not high class like you, and I never went to any swell school.
That'll be enough, Susan.